Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from South Hadley, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Cohn. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes, and this one's a part of a vastly larger tour called Brightside.
Okay, and so today he'll be educating us on the Mount Marie and its cemetery. So tell us about the statues and bell in the cemetery.
This cemetery has become the repository of many statues associated with the Sisters of St. Joseph, based out of Springfield. The reason why, as places closed down, they decide, we shouldn't throw out these statues or bells, and they come to the one place that will always be there for the sisters, and that's Mont Marie Cemetery. And so they have statues around it, and they each have their little history behind them. The bell is very close to the front gates. It is the mother house's bell. When the sister as now are based out of Springfield, they had a mother house there just for themselves. This was the original mother house. Now, there's statues galore around this cemetery, and it's good to go out and to read each one in turn. Remember, the Sisters of St. Joseph are spread out around all of New England, actually around the world, but around New England quite a bit. There was one group based in Springfield, one group based in Fall River, Massachusetts, another great based in Rutland, Vermont. And if you visit each one in turn, you can read these three statues, and there's one in the far distance too that honors, of course, the Sisters of St. Joseph's patron saint is St. Joseph himself, the father of Jesus. Now, there's also a cross inside of this cemetery, and if you read this, it's a donation from a Reverend Lane. James Alfred Lane was a pastor in Springfield, and he wanted to be charitable to the nuns, and he donated many things, including this beautiful cross. Now, as you walk around the cemetery, you'll notice that there's Mount Marie, of course, is up there. There's also a labyrinth in place, and there's many gravestones. And so the gravestones themselves are such that the nuns are all grouped together towards the south, and the parents of the nuns, who also have a free burial here if they want it, are based towards the north. And so we'll describe some of those along the way.
So what is the history of Mount Marie?
Right, the Sisters of St. Joseph were based in Springfield, and that's where they lived in apartments, and they lived in the old mother house, which is very close to St. Michael's Cathedral on State Street. And there are nuns that very much wanted to be teachers, and that's what they were great at. But they wanted a place that had dual function. One, a place that would be their summer house, away from the heat of the city of Springfield, and somewhere beautiful where the nuns who were teachers could go out there for a couple months out of the year and feel refreshed. Also, they wanted a place where the novitiates, which is the rookie nuns, could learn how to become a nun, and then they go off to a 4-year college and get instructed how to teach a certain subject. And so this place was also the novitiate. Now, it became, after the mother house in Springfield closed, taken down, this became their mother house and their summer house. And if you look at it, its look is the same as the original. The original was bought out here by the Sisters of St. Joseph, and they built up over an old hotel that had burned to the ground. And that hotel was a look just like this, where it was very, very long, had a central portion, and then had another long wing to the sides. And this is what this building is. But this is not the original building. About late 1950s, they said, oh, we can't keep living in here. It's not good enough. And so they started getting money together, getting plans together. And by the late 1960s, they had enough money, and they built it up, and it was ready by 1971. All right, now, if you look at also, it has a chapel in the middle, and the chapel is very beautiful inside. It's well worth the time to try to see if you can go to Mass there.
So quickly before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, and they are perfect for fun, educational outdoor activities for the whole family or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. They are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So, getting back to the interview. So, what's up with the labyrinth?
All right, the labyrinth was put up for this reason. If you clear your mind and then go to the start of the labyrinth and say to yourself, I want to do this job, and then go through the labyrinth the whole extent, and keep a clear, open mind, and then you come to the very end, you find your way. You should have even a clearer mind and a refreshed outlook. And if you do it right, it does work. I've taken the labyrinth 4 times, and 3 times I did it correctly, and I had that right attitude, and it worked. And once I just maybe rushed through it. It wasn't a clear mind. It didn't work. So you got to approach it in the right way. Now, the labyrinth was created for people to go there. There's a book written about the labyrinth and the people that created it. And technically, if you want to use the labyrinth, you have to tell Mount Marine in advance. But if it's just 1 or 2 people, I don't think they mind. If it's a big group, then you should tell them in advance. But the whole spirit of the labyrinth is that a labyrinth is like the life of a person, where you try to find the solution that works best for you and find your way in toward a central goals. And religious people, it's God. If it's spirituality, then you want to find a better source of information and outlook on life. And so it's an analogy towards what people should be like in life.
So what is the modern Mont Marine like?
All right, there's very few nuns left. There are a few. Remember, this was filled with nuns at one time. And now it's mostly residential for people that want to have a way to live quietly, not an old age home, but a lot of old people live here. And some of it is subsidized. So it's become quite different from what it was. And remember, what it was a summer house, and then it changed into a mother house. And now it's mostly residential for lay people. But it still has a cemetery and a lot about the Sisters of St. Joseph aside with statues and this wonderful labyrinth. So I hope you visit just to look at it and look at the cemetery and try the labyrinth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours, and we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website, holyokecanaltour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in.